Here's a Toshiba 12-inch oscillating table fan, I think from the 70s. Model number D-30AA. Speed selections are in Japanese writing. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Actually, I take that back. I saw a Sanyo, I think it was on eBay or somewhere, that had something similar to that. This fan's pretty tall. I put it up here next to the Panasonic table fan. I'm sure a lot of people have seen these, so just for some reference for how tall this fan is. Pretty long neck on it. I'm not too familiar with Toshiba. Definitely haven't seen a lot of these around. This might be the only Toshiba I've ever seen. I think these were kind of a higher end fan though during this time in the 70s. Kind of interesting design. There are parts of it that just seem kind of artsy. I noticed on the base here, the front of it is rounded off on everything. The corners, the speed selector buttons, everything are all rounded. The front of the neck is rounded, and then if you turn it around to the back, everything is squared off. So that's pretty cool. Not sure what that means. Most everything on the bottom of the fan is in Japanese. Wiring diagram. This would be your general information, if you can make anything out of that. Pretty cool fan, pretty neat. And I like how they did the power cord on this. It's got this nifty hideaway hatch here. I think there were some older Panasonic fans from like the early 70s that had something like this too, but then they did away with it for some reason and went back to just not having anything. And then it kind of runs out of the back like that. And then here's the plug. It's even a Toshiba brand plug. It's pretty neat. A little rough shape, but still works. And this fan, I have a little trouble trying to plug this thing in. The fan is in decent shape, but at the same time, it needs some help. So I think it's probably got a lot of hours on it. It's been used pretty heavily, but seems fairly well taken care of. It seems pretty lucky in the sense that it hasn't had a lot of bumps or falls or anything like that, but I think it's got a lot of hours on it. I think it's been used a lot. The chrome is wearing off of the badge quite a bit there, and we've got an issue with the speed selector. So I figured out that speed 2, the medium speed, doesn't work at all, and I unscrewed the bottom of the base. I heard some stuff rattling around in there, and when I did that, these little parts of the switch box came out of it. So it's hard to explain in detail what's going on with the speed selector there, but there's a couple of small pieces that are broken that I think could be fixed with super glue, hopefully. And then I have to figure out how these go back in there. I think those don't look broken. I think that basically I think it can be repaired if I'm patient and careful enough, and we're gonna find out someday. But basically I've got speed 1 is the only one that works properly. Speed 2 doesn't work at all because it's not getting any contact when you push the switch down, because there's a broken piece in there that's not pushing the little metal prong down to the contact all the way. And then the third speed will work if you hold it down, but it won't lock down. So I'm not really sure about that. But getting back to what I was saying about these being kind of higher end fans, I think. I mean, I don't really know what the price difference would have been between this fan and the Panasonic fan, but I think if you went into a big electronics store or whatever, and it was a place that had a large selection of fans, you know, from cheapest to most expensive, working from left to right, you'd probably see like your super deluxe cool breeze, cool horn fans, stuff like that, and then move up from there to your Lasco Galaxy fans, and then moving up from there you'd run into your Panasonic, Edison, Sanyos, stuff like that, and then a small step up from those fans you'd start running into the Toshiba, Hitachi, and like Mitsubishi, some other odd brands that aren't around anymore, some brands that I think that were gone by the end of the 70s, and I think this is one of them. Toshiba, Hitachi, Mitsubishi, among others, just seemed like those kind of dropped off by the end of the 70s, and then the Panasonics and Sanyos stuck around through the 80s, and eventually those dropped off too. I don't know, that's just how the story goes, but pretty cool 4-leaf blade, nice blue color. It's a little scratched up. I don't think there's any chipping in it, it's just a little scuffed up, not too bad really. And then there's some of the finish is worn off the grill a little bit. It doesn't look rusty, it just looks like the paint or the coating is coming off. And the guard clips together. Pretty nice fan. Pretty excited to have it. We'll run it on the low speed first. It's quiet. And this is the only speed where I'm going to get the oscillation to work. runs really slow on the oscillation, very smooth operation, very quiet, and a nice breeze coming out of it. That's like a perfect low speed. Not much vibration at all, so that's good. So then you try to do speed 2 here, it'll lock down, but it's not making any contact, so it's not going to run. And then on speed 3, I better turn this off, and then if I hold this down, it will work. I'm going to turn it this way. It'll work as long as I hold this down. Pretty strong too on the high speed. Basically just as strong as any of my other 12-inch fans. Panasonics, the Galaxies. It's got cool vents at the top of the motor there. Or the motor cover. It's got a nice big hanger on it too, that's cool. So yeah, basically this is just an old fan. It's getting wore out. I could tell the speed selector components are they're just wore out, and hopefully I can fix it well enough to get it functional again. I don't think it should be too big of a problem, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to do startup sounds on this because I noticed that it has some, so we'll start with a low speed. I don't know if it picked up that at all. And here is high speed. Pretty cool fan. Definitely don't see many of these around. Excited to get it up and running. Haven't cleaned it, haven't done anything to it yet. I think it's just as it has been for the last 50 years. It's got to be coming up on 50 years old, I would think. I think this is probably from the early 70s. Not really sure. Don't know much about them, but that's Toshiba, made in Japan, 12-inch oscillating table fan. Thank you for watching.